Hey everyone, I'm Marie from Buffalo. I am the organizer here for Buffalo, and I'm super excited to kind of round out your day here with Nakia Cook. So this session is called the Freelance Fee. Super stoked to have you here. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to make comments as you would, and reach out as we go ahead and release the contact information towards the end. Just a few things for you all that are tuning in. If you are tuning in from Buffalo, we are offering quote unquote watch parties at Unova Co-working in Springville, Hansa downtown Buffalo, and Trek in Niagara Falls. So if you get a chance to get over there, please contact them directly on information on how to get in there and watch the live streams from those locations. It gives you a great opportunity to interact if you're comfortable with that, of course, socially distant, if you are in our city. But for anyone else joining from the other cities, thank you for tuning in and interacting on the virtual sessions. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Nakia. I'm going to bring her on with me. Hi, Nakia. How are you?
Hello. All right. And yourself?
I'm great. Super excited to have you. I'm going to go ahead and pull myself off the screen here, let you have full reign. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and we will go ahead and get started.
Okay. Thank you so much. Well, hello, everyone. As mentioned, I am Nakia Cook, and I own NC Accounting and Consulting Solutions, where I assist individuals on starting their business and cash flow consulting. So I have my MBA, I have my MWBE certification for New York State as well as New York City. I have a bachelor's in accounting as well as a master's in entrepreneurship. And I have worked with several individuals when it comes to, as well as organizations when it comes to finance. I also teach business finance at a local college. So I'm extremely ecstatic and happy to be here with you guys. By nature, I'm an auditor. So if I come off as just really, hired and here you go with information, it's just my nature. But I am really just open and honest about what I do. And then when it comes to money and finance, because obviously when you're talking to someone or dealing with someone, then you want to make sure that you can have that connection, that relationship with the individual when they're dealing with your funds. So I want to get into it because I have a ton of information. I hope you are able to download or get the workbook that I have with this presentation, because it just helps with a guide and just, a view of going into getting information on what you need. Maria, are we sharing the screen now? Okay. And I already went into right here as to what I do. Just a high level information on what I just mentioned before. Also my certifications, as well as the many organizations that I have either partnered with or I have done presentations for or worked with them in terms of their financial management. So like I said, I'm super excited. I call myself your unconventional accountant because I am not your skirt and suit type of gal, I guess, or the green visor. I am more of a laid back and chill, but watch me work type of female. So we're going to get right into it. In this presentation, you'll learn if your business is really a business, the most popular legal entities and how they're taxed, and your financial plan basics. Like I said, it's going to be a ton of information. The guide will assist and help, but I'm going to try to do as much as I can within the hour that I have, as well as take some Q&A. So are you in business or do you work as a hobby? Now, the IRS has certain questions and qualifications that they ask in order for you to be deemed as a business. And I always have people go back to these questions, especially if you're already in business or been in business for a while, because you tend to rebrand, you tend to take on different services or products within your business. So it's great to just go back and look at these questions to see if you're really operating as a business or if you're operating as a hobby. And some of the questions that the IRS does ask, and that you should have likely on the side, especially if you were to get audited, is whether you carry on activity in a business-like manner and maintain complete and accurate books and records. So what that is saying is that although most individuals starting out, they like to use Excel, and I like to put their records in shoe boxes as well as composition notebooks. It's extremely important to at least have a system in place. And what I mean by that is using QuickBooks or FreshBooks. And I am going to go through some of them later on within this presentation that are available to you and are at affordable costs. So you want to make sure that you have those complete and accurate books. You want to make sure that the time and effort that you put into your activity indicates that you intend to make a profit. This one is huge, especially for individuals that get into business and they say they haven't made any money. So should they file taxes, which yes, as well as individuals whom say, well, you know what, I need to come at a loss so it can assist me with my W-2 employment. I get all types of questions and concerns when it comes to taxes as I prepare them for business and your personal finances. So you want to make sure that you are exactly turning a profit within your business. Now, whether you depend on income from that activity, meaning the work that you perform for individuals or products that you give for your livelihood. And yes, if you're in business, and it may not be for some people, it's not your full-time job, it's something that you do part-time, but you're looking into doing it full-time, then that may still be for your livelihood. It could be paying off bills, paying off down student loan debt. It could be whatever it is that you're doing. It is for your livelihood. And next will be whether your losses are due to circumstances beyond your control. So if you have certain things that happen within your business, say COVID, for instance, like this can be, and you just start up your business, this could be something that was not necessarily normal, but it happened. It happened to everyone. So therefore, that left you in the lines of trying to figure out what it is that you needed to do to sustain within your business. And that is a loss. And a lot of people have had those loss, unfortunately, due to the pandemic. And that goes back into those accurate books and records, even starting off, or if you're already in business, because you know of those certain loans, the PPE and the disaster relief loans that were given. If you had accurate books and records, you will be able to, for the PPE, keep those funds with the grants amount and be able to show what you had spent those on for the disaster relief. Also, you want to make sure that whether the change of your operation is an attempt to improve your profitability. So if you go through and you've changed the way that you work, the way that you do business, you kind of rebranded and you scoped out some things, or put a couple of things in your business, you want to make sure that that is in fact an attempt to improve your profits. As you can see, profits came up twice. So whether you or your advisors within your business have the knowledge needed to carry on the activities as a successful business. Now, all that is saying is that you have the know-how to do what you're doing. So for me, I can't be an accountant today and then turn around and want to perform surgery on a certain class or a certain group of individuals. So that isn't necessary or ordinary for my business. Whether you are successful in making a profit in similar activities in the past. So if you've, let's just say, baked, you own a bakery or you bake cakes, and you have made money with that, and turn it, you had a hobby and it was profitable because, people gave you donations, or, you sold them, not at a high scale, but you made money and now you have a full-on bakery. That is one of those activities. The next would be whether the activity makes a profit in some years and how much profit it makes. As you can see, profit is a huge, huge, huge benefactor here when trying to gain and get money. Now, whether you expect to make future profit from the appreciation of the assets used in that activity. So that's basically turning a profit. Also on the depreciation or things that you have purchased for your business. So the IRS uses those questions, especially if they were to go in and pull your books and records for audit, to see if you're actually in business, or if what you're doing is basically a hobby. So all of these questions basically fall under the purpose of accounting. So that's your systematic recording. Like I said, a system that you have in place, such as QuickBooks, FreshBooks, Zero, your communication of your financial statements, your balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flows, as well as your P&L. Your assistant decision making, that's everyone on your team. If you're a solopreneur, then it's yourself and all those other people that's on your team in your head that you go through on a day-to-day basis, that you have control of your assets within your business, that you plan for future activities, and you are complying with the law. So all things related, the purpose of your business is to plan for profit. And I can't emphasize that enough because, as I mentioned earlier, so many people get into business and they go through the rigmarole of having a business, and then they say, you know what, this year I didn't make any money, and they're not planning to make money. So you have to have a strategy in line. You have to have plans, and you just have to sit down and make sure that you are going through and you're planning for your business to make money. So if you're doing that, then you're fine. But I wanted to make sure that I hit that because a lot of organizations, like I said, usually just go through, and you do have to file taxes, whether you come in a loss or a gain. But the purpose is making money, as much money as you can within your business. So how is your business set up right now? What is your legal entity? The structure of your business determines how much taxes that you pay, your ability to raise money, and the paperwork that you need to file to pay those taxes, as well as your personal liability. So you'll need to choose a business structure if you haven't already. You need to register that business with your state. Most businesses all of them will need a tax ID number, and you can get that EIN number from the IRS.gov. And some also need appropriate taxes and licensings and permits. So you want to make sure that you're choosing correctly when you get into these legal entities. And let me tell you why. So the legal entities that I can touch on in terms of tax, because an attorney is also a great person to speak with when it comes to your business. But the legal entities and how you're taxed would be your sole proprietorships, your partnerships and general liabilities, your corporations, and your limited liability companies. So some of the taxes require payment throughout the year, so it's important to know your tax obligations before the end of your tax year. So there are 5 general types of business taxes, and those are your income taxes, your self-employment taxes, your estimate taxes, your employer tax, your excess tax. So each category of your business might fall under special rules or qualifications, and you will need to go to the IRS or your accountant to get this information. So next would be the main business that I see a lot of individuals go into would be that sole proprietorship. Now, this is where a lot of people get a little confused when I say sole proprietorship, because it's the simplest and most common form of business. And that's the structure that most individuals have chosen to start. It's an unincorporated business owned and ruled by only one individual. So it's no distinguishment between yourself as well as the owner, as well as the business. So that's a blank statement, I guess you can say, for a sole proprietorship as a DBA. So you are entitled to all the profits, but you're also responsible for all the business debts, losses, and liabilities when you're just a sole proprietor. So when you're in a sole proprietorship, forming one, you do not have to take any form of action to form a sole proprietorship as long as you are the only owner. So this status is basically automatic when you decide to go into business. And what I mean by that is you may already own one without even knowing it. So say if you're a freelance writer, for example, you are a sole proprietor. Now, it's when you get into the legalities of the sole proprietorship that it becomes different. And I'll talk about that in a second. However, all businesses, you need to obtain the necessary licenses and permits that are regulated by that industry, as well as the state that you're in and locality. So you want to make sure that you do have your licensings in place. So you can also go to your state website to find that as well. Now, if you choose to operate under a different name than your own, then you will have a fictitious name, and that's your assumed name, or your trade name, which is your DBA. So that is short for just doing business as. Now, your sole proprietor taxes are different because you and your business are one and the same. So if you just have a DBA and you have no legal entity behind that DBA, then you are responsible for your liability as well as the assets to your business, as I mentioned earlier. However, it's not separated, and the sole proprietorship income is your income as a whole. So you report those income and losses on a Schedule C, and that's the standard form to a 1040. So the bottom line amount from the Schedule C will then transfer over to your personal income tax, and it's your responsibility to withhold any and all of the income taxes, and that includes your self-employment taxes as well as your estimate taxes. And like I said, getting an accountant to assist you with those things, as well as going to the irs.gov, can help you a lot too. So sole proprietors report business income and expenses on that Schedule C of their personal income tax. And if you have net income, then you must pay both federal and state income taxes on that amount. Now, if you have a loss, it can be used to offset other income that you have, such as income from your job. You'll hear me use that as a W-2 relative to this presentation. So sole proprietorships are considered self-employed because you must also pay Medicare and Social Security taxes. Those are your self-employment taxes. Now, I'll get into some advantages and disadvantages because of the time a little later once I get through the rest of the entities on here. But I'll make sure you have this solid foundation before I get into some frequently used tax deductions as well. So next, you would have your partnership. So you have a general partnership, and in many aspects, that's similar to a sole proprietorship, except that it involves more than one owner. And all partners are liable for the debts and the liabilities of the partnership. All partners are also able to bind in that partnership, unless it's otherwise noted in the management rights. But as you can see from the illustration, when you change partners or the death of a partner, it dissolves a general partnership. So general partnership interests are not transferable. So there are many ways to minimize the effects of that, though, an aspect of a general partnership. You also have a joint venture. So this is a special kind of general partnership because it's formed to pursue a single business project. So that would mean if you're in a development of an apartment project, and once that undertake is finished, then the venture is dissolved. So that's a joint venture when you get into that with someone. And then you have a limited liability partnership, and that's composed of just one or more general partners and one or more limited partners. Now, the general partnership have unlimited liability for the debts and liabilities of the partnership, but so long as they remain passive and the investors do not participate actively in the operations of the business. So there's some caveats when you get into a limited partnership. So you want to make sure that you're into it and understand, what it is when you go into a limited partnership. Now, a limited liability partnership is a form of partnership typically employed by professionals. So those are attorneys and accountants. So this form of partnership has the unlimited liability of your own acts, but not for the debts of the partnerships, nor liabilities of the other partners, except in the intent of their own interest in the partnership. Like I said, partnerships are similar to the sole proprietorships because income is passed through on the owner's personal income tax returns. And they do, however, have more tax forms to prepare, and that's your K-1 schedule that needs to go onto your 1040. Like I said, I'll get into the tax implications in a second. But I wanted to make sure that you understand the C Corp versus the S Corp when it comes to your business. And this is in terms of the tax filing. So a C Corp files a corporate tax return and pays corporate taxes, income taxes on its profits, which means that the distribution of those are taxed twice. And that is at the corporate level and on receiving those shareholders on a personal income tax return. So with a C Corp, if you elect to get taxed that way, you are taxed twice based off that election. Now, you have to fill out a form in order to be considered an S Corp. And to avoid having those distributions taxed twice, some corporations choose to file an S Corp on their tax return. So they do not pay corporate income taxes. Instead, each shareholder pays personal income tax on his or her share, regardless of whether those profits are distributed to the shareholders of the company or held by the company. So, like I said, you have to fill out a form in order to have a S Corp, but to be eligible for that, you must be a domestic U.S. corporation. You can have no more than 100 shareholders, and shareholders are non-resident. Shareholders cannot be non-resident aliens, partnerships, or a corporation, and you can only have one class of stock. So shareholders who also work for the corporation are corporate employees. They pay income, Social Security, and Medicare taxes on their salary, as well as being taxed on distributions from corporate profits. You also have B Corps, and those are for-profit corporations also. And they're just different from C Corps in the fact that accountability and transparency with those, and shareholders to the company are accountable to produce reports and demonstrate their contributions to that public good. And then you have closed corporations and, of course, nonprofit corporations. So those are all taxed differently, and with the nonprofit forms need to be filled out as well, and as well as a cooperative business also. So I do go into detail with some of these and other presentations. However, I just want to give you a high level overview before I get into other items, so then you know how your business is taxed and why it's being taxed and the differences between them. Now, a limited liability company. This is what most businesses have. And I say most because you're a single member. LLCs are automatically taxed the same way as sole proprietorships. Multi-member LLCs are automatically taxed like partnerships. And any LLC can choose to be taxed as a C corporation, as mentioned. But if you meet the requirements for an S Corp, you can be taxed that way too. Now, the tax flexibility is an advantage of the LLC because you can change your tax status as your business grows without having to reorganize as different types of business entities. So if you're LLC right now, you can choose that S Corp or that C Corp, and you can change it as your business grows. And this is part of your tax planning within your business because you want to make sure that as your business grows, you are limiting your liability with the IRS. So, do you need to file that tax return with no activity? As I mentioned earlier, I get this question a lot when it comes to businesses. So it all depends on the way that your LLC is taxed. It can be taxed, as I mentioned, as all those three types of the partnership, corporation, or the proprietorship, but the LLC may be omitted as an entity for tax purposes, or it may be taxed as a corporation. And all that is saying is that an LLC, as a sole proprietor, you're a disregarded entity in terms of the IRS. So income will appear on your individual tax return. It's that Schedule C. So you'll see your gains, your losses, your deductions, and your credits on your personal income tax as it relates to your Schedule C for your business as a sole proprietorship under the LLC legal entity. Now, a partnership does not pay tax on its income, but passes through any profits or losses to its partners. So the business itself doesn't pay, but the partnership does. I mean, the partners don't pay, but the business itself does. And those are additional forms that you need to fill out with the IRS too. But as I mentioned, if you're a newly formed LLC, you may not you may not officially begin operations in your business for a year or more. And older LLCs may slowly become irrelevant without being properly dissolved. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. And LLCs that have been inactive or have no income may still be mandated to file a federal income tax. So you want to make sure that you're still filing your income tax, even if you're not doing business in there and haven't dissolved your organization. So, like I mentioned, the following requirements will depend on your LLC and how it's taxed. And an LLC may be taxed as that corporation or partnership, and that disregarded entity. Now, here are some of the business structure, the ownership, the liability, and taxes that you may have to pay. Again, when you're looking at this, you want to make sure that you understand that some businesses will have a lower tax liability if you're a pass-through entity, while others may benefit from operating as a C corporation. So the right answer for your business would depend on your profits. Remember, that's the main things. You're in business to make a profit, your type of business, and your personal tax situation. So don't just go into the your business thinking that, because I don't want that liability, I want it to pass through to my company. If something were to ever happen, then I'm going to get an LLC and just be a sole proprietorship underneath that LLC. If you're making tons of money within your business, then you want to make sure that you're electing the correct type of formation to be taxed under. So an S Corp may be what it is for you, or a corporation may be. And you also have to look at your personal income tax. If you're married, if you have a family, you have to think about these things when it comes to your business. And a lot of people, they don't really pay attention to that because they think they're just in business, and you're heightened because you have a business and you're in formation, you're ready to do these things. So just keep those items in mind when it comes to working on your business and its legal entity. I do want to say that there is a tip, though, for avoiding self-employment taxes. Now, some owners or operators save money on the Medicare and Social Security tax by forming a corporation and taking a lower salary and a higher amount in deductions. So the salary still must be reasonable, and you can expect that close scrutiny by the IRS. But to avoid some of those self-employment taxes, usually an organization will elect to be taxed as a corporation and take a lower salary and higher amounts in their distribution. Now, self-employment taxes, those tax rates was about 15.3%. And that's just the sum of the 12.4% Social Security tax and the 2.9 Medicare tax. And your self-employment taxes apply to your net earnings. Now, I know I get excited when I hear these things and I'm going through this because it may not be the fun side of business, but I think it's fun because it's dealing with your cash flow and your money and everything is. So I'm extremely excited when I talk about this because now you want to know, well, who has to pay these taxes when you're looking at this? Who has to pay self-employment taxes? So in general, you have to pay self-employment tax if either of these things are true during the year. You had $400 or more net earnings from self-employment, excluding anything that you made if you are a church employee, because those have different tax liabilities. And you had $108.28 or more in income from church employment. So those are the individuals who have to pay some self-employment tax. So if you made over $400 within your business, then you have to pay those self-employment tax. Now, I wanted to quickly just get into if you're a first-time business owner. Like, what are some types of legal or financial issues that usually arise when you're in business? And of course, forming a business, you have to set up your tax accounts, signing contracts. And in the workbook, it's a section for completing these things. And it has these um, tips and tricks in there also, if you have downloaded that, because I want to make sure you get this information if you're in business or starting a business, or just want to brush up on what it is that you need to do financially for your business. But I just want to tap into these a little bit before I get into those deductions and the fun stuff that people usually want to look into. So the next one will be forming a business. So as we mentioned, the business legal structure, it can protect you and your family from the liabilities, save you money on taxes. It can set you a stage for outside investments in your business. And you want to make sure that you're consulting a professional or an attorney to help you choose those. I'll put the link in the comment shortly. It was on the presentation page. I apologize. We clicked the link on the side saying that you want it, but I'll put the workbook link in the chat. I want to make sure that you have this information setting up when you're forming a business. Now, the next thing would be your tax accounts. So setting up your tax accounts, you may need to register with the federal, state, and local tax authorities, collect sales tax, withhold payroll taxes, issuing tax forms, and making those estimate tax payments. I know it seems like a lot. I promise you, once you're into business, and a lot of my business owners that's looking into this webinar to have done these things know that it can be a little overwhelming. But once you start getting into groove with things and you have an accountant or a trusted advisor that's going through these things with you, then the ease comes a little, not a lot, but it does come later on as you start to work through your business. The next thing will be quickly is just signing contracts. You want to make sure that you understand all the legal and loan documentations that you have, the terms of use. These contracts can make or break your business. You want to have written evidence of every work that you perform within your business, and understand that the work that needs to be performed, as well as how much you're going to get paid, because remember, we're in business to make a profit. The next one will be employee issues. And those, okay, sorry, thank you. And those employee issues can be devastating for any small business. So you want to make sure that you are in contact with an attorney and that you understand what your employee issues are. My apologies. What those employees issues are when you're getting into having a business and hiring employees and contracting out. And there's different governances when it comes to those items on employees and hiring employees. The next one would be government compliance. So you need to make sure that you file reports and comply with a variety of state and federal and local laws. So that may include your security and exchange filings. If you're LLC, your BNAL filings, your environmental compliances, your state annual report filings. And I know it's a lot to keep up with. And a lot of organizations, that's what they hire me for too, is that I keep up with these things and you get alerts and get reminders, or I just go right in and do them for you. The next one would be for your accounting. As we're talking about right now, you want to make sure that you have an accountant and a bookkeeper to help you develop strategies to manage your finances and minimize your taxes and prepare your tax returns. Let me answer this. This is, what do you recommend to someone who's just starting out as a freelancer, but is still unsure about their business or service model looks like? Okay, so what I recommend is that you have a strategy session. Now, on the side of this is that you really sit down and you look at what you like to do and what you don't mind spending time on, but that you can do most efficiently. So what I mean by that is, say if I'm not sure what your business is, but if I always use a dog walker. So say if you're in the business of dog walking and you know that you can hold 5 dogs versus 2 dogs, efficiently I can work with walking 5 dogs. I enjoy walking 5 dogs, but the 2 dogs that I have sitting there, the 2 dogs that I have on a leash may not be exactly what it is going to make me my money and make me a profit within my business. But 5 will. I can cut down the time that I'm walking these dogs and work more efficiently within my business. So I want to say when you're starting out, and what I did is looking at a model for a service. Yes, freelance dog walker. And as the model, that I would look to is just getting a piece of paper and writing down what it is that you want to do. Uh, Sitting aside and saying, what you can do the quickest and the best. And then what are some of the things that you don't like to do within your business? It's kind of hard when you're looking at uh, your business in terms of a service model. But I do have templates for that if that will be beneficial for you in terms of what your business or service model should look like, because you should have that in place. That goes within that system and automation. I can talk about that for days also with my business consultation. However, I can, if you send me an email, because I'll have it up at the end, I can send you that information. There's no worries about that. Just to guide you, a quick guide. The next one will be litigation. And with litigation, we all know lawsuits can happen and we don't want those to happen, but you want to make sure you have someone that can present your business in the right way if you get sued. So you want to make sure that you have insurance. I think every business owner out here should have insurance when it comes to their business. Another thing that people sometimes don't understand or know, that whatever it is that you do in business, you may have confidential information. So you don't want that to leak out. You don't want that to go to competitors or the general public. So that may include, like I said, a business plan, financial information, um, a secret recipe, a customer list. Those are the type of things you want to make sure that you are keeping confidential when it comes to your business and your clients and the people that you serve. Intellectual property. So your business may have valuable copyrights, trademarks, or patents. So you want to make sure that you're getting on advice on how to protect those things. The next would be your document retention. So in light of a risk of identity theft, businesses should have a document retention policy, particular to your customer or client information. And like I said, an attorney can help you draft those out. You also want to be on the lookout for theft, employee fraud. Businesses use millions of dollars each year, and you need to establish some anti-fraud policies and controls when it comes to your business. Then you also want to know, which I know every single person on this webinar will get, your growth and your change within your business. So as you make more money, more legal issues start to arise, and you want to make sure that your attorney and your tax advisor, your accountant, your bookkeeper, they all know your plans and your goals, your mission within your business. And you should be having those type of conversations with them anyway, especially if you're in a merger or acquisition. Owners change within the business, you move into a major city, or you're expanding your business. You want to hire out or just take on more clientele. So you want to make sure that you understand the growth and change within your business. And that's what I help individuals with that cash flow aspect on the financial side. Now, here's the fun stuff, what people really want to know, especially if you're starting out and you do your taxes yourself. You want to know what it is that you can deduct. And here is a list. And I also have this list within that workbook that you can get. I know you're thinking, wow, I didn't know I can deduct my, what is on there, collection expenses. Or, a lot of people always talk about the home and office expenses, your advertisement. Like those are the basic things that yes, everyone can get a deduction off of. But if you have your, your car expenses on there, continuing education, you're welcome. I appreciate. I was hoping that it was helpful. Your continuing education on there, um, your group insurance if you qualify. Make sure that you're keeping these receipts and you have that accounting system that I'm going to give you in a few on what it is that you can deduct. You can deduct those discounts to customers. Bank fees, although you should be going to a bank that isn't going to charge you any fees on your account, but we can talk about that in the consult. Your business travel, of course, cleaning and janitorial services, charity, and now with COVID happening now, make sure anything that you donate or give, you write that down because that's a write-off, personal and in business, no matter the income. Your credit card convenience fees, you want to make sure that you are looking into those all the time, all as well. And another slide, it would be a guard dog, your rent, royalties, your safe, service fees, your startup expenses, subcontract costs, all these payroll processing fees, parking and tolls. So if you have an accountant and you see that you have these things out here, but you're not necessarily getting these deductions, make sure you ask. Or, just look at, into someone that is, that's familiar with working with your business. And you want to make sure that as the more money you make, that the less liability that you have to pay. And you want to make sure you get these deductions and tax credits for your business. But your license fees and everything, postage and everything, profit sharing, you want to make sure you're getting all these things. But like I said, it's in the workbook. I want to go through quickly so I'll leave some time for Q&A. I did want to go through your financial plan, but like I said, this is in your workbook. And with that, I just had what a financial plan looks like. So this goes back to that question on how to start, really. And it's your business plan sections. Everyone should have a business plan, even if you don't want to necessarily get money from the bank or anything like that, or get investments within your bank. You should still have a business plan because it sets out for your structure and the goals that you have within your business. So you want to have that executive summary, company description, your products and services, your market analysis, your team. And what I work with is the financial plan and projection piece. So that's what I basically get into. And that's the bookkeeping piece. Like, why is it important? What do you need? Where do you start? And like I mentioned, it is in the workbook, but you must keep bookkeeping records because it monitors the progress of your business. You can prepare financial statements, identify the sources of your income, the deductible expenses that were just given to you, keep track of your property. You can prepare your tax returns by just one click of a button, and it supports those items on your tax return in the event that you may get audited. And it also tells you where you're going because that saying, but you want to make sure that you have that that bookkeeping in place and understand what it is that's going into that bookkeeping. The next one would be that accounting system. So you can run more efficiently if you have an accounting system in place. I'm actually a QuickBooks Pro advisor, so I primarily also teach within QuickBooks, and I assist individuals with setting up QuickBooks and doing the bookkeeping for clients. And I just want to give you those accounting systems. Like I said, my fave is QuickBooks, and you can get a discount because I'm an accountant with that link below if you just want to try it out. And if you're in the beginning of business, you can get QuickBooks Self-Employed for, don't quote me on this, but it may be $10 now, $10 a month, which isn't a heavy lift because you are in business to make money, and you're going to get money to cover all your expenses that you have in your money if you're not, there yet. But these are some other accounting systems that are out there that are popular and can assist you. So like FreshBooks is just a streamlined tracking and invoicing. That Sage 550 Cloud, that's more of an enterprise level. And I did put these in the workbook also to help you. And Of course, what a lot of people still don't understand is that your personal finances impact what um, you have on business. So you want to make sure that you understand your personal finances and the impact that it can have in relation to your business. Now, I know I went through all that so quickly because I wanted to make sure that I had the information in here for you. So if you have any questions, I'm going to go into the Q&A piece. Oh, here's the link. Like I said, what QuickBooks looks like, and that link that I put up there earlier, and it helps with those questions that were mentioned where the IRS looks at you to see if you are an actual business or a hobby. And then what's next? You can get a free business compliance check to see if you are actually, set up correctly within your business. And what I mean by that is just your name, your email, your legal business name. It's on the website. It's the first thing that pops up, and I'll send it to you for free just so you can see if you have any compliances or due dates coming up that you will want to know for yourself. So that's free on the website. As well, if you want information on setting up a business, your taxes, and all that good information. But I want to make sure I get into some Q&A over here because I've seen some pop up, but I want to get through all of that. So I apologize that it was quick, fast, and in a hurry, but I do want to answer all the questions that you have coming through here. So let me go over here and look. So can you speak about advertising and donations for a business when it comes to charitable contributions? I'm always confused if it's better to give personally or through my business. So I would say it depends on the dollar amount, but the business would be most advantageous for you to get those credits. But then again, if you're for your personal income, if you're in business and you also have a W-2, then you have to look at your income from that. So if that is fairly high, then you have to take on account for a mortgage and things like that. Then I would suggest that you use your personal income tax. But it depends. If it's coming out of your business business account, then you want to make sure that it's going, it's on your business as a charitable contribution. And what do you mean by advertising in that terms? If you can ask me that question again. And Wave is fine. I went through, this is what are your thoughts about Wave accounting platform? Wave is fine. I just feel that QuickBooks is a little easier, especially starting off, if that makes sense, because it's really, especially for self-employed, you can put the app on your phone and it's really like a drag and drop or like a go in terms of your business. So, I mean, yeah, I would suggest QuickBooks, but Wave is a good platform for you. And even if you don't use QuickBooks, Free Agent, that is one that is specifically out there to help freelancers. I think I may have put that on that list earlier. So that helps keep your finances together, is that Free Agent one. Let me see. Oh, okay. Buying an ad. So if you have an event, and it depends on the verbiage of that, honestly, because sometimes they say if you give a donation, then we'll advertise your business. So then that is definitely a donation. So I would say for that, then it will go into your business. So if you're having an event, then or the organization is having an event and you give money and then they advertise your business, then you can technically use that as a donation. I look because the verbiage in that is extremely important. Is there any more questions? I think how many? Okay.
Coming back on. Hi.
Hello.
That was great. Thank you so much. And the questions that came in at the end were really, really helpful. So I'm sure they're not the only ones wondering the same.
Right.
Perfect. Was there anything else that you wanted to share that maybe we didn't talk about? I know you said that you know, went through it so quickly, which we really, you know, we appreciate for, you know, the essence of time. But
Right.
at the same time, of course, you know, there's so much more than what you touched on. You know, there always
Yeah.
is, especially when it comes to money. But like Emily said, you know, it is our job to create a profit in our business.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we get to drive that, and I think that a huge part of that is working with someone like you or with you, to be smart about it. You know, we may start off as a just I don't even know. You know, some people don't know
Right.
where to start, and they don't have an LLC or a DBA or anything like that,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
they jump right in, they start making money, and then when they go to look at their taxes the next year, they're like,
Right.
oh, where's all that? Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
You know, maybe I am
Exactly.
a freelance dog walker and I've just been collecting and not, you know, doing whatever. And then, you know, you grow into an LLC or a DBA, and then, you know, maybe, you know, then your business takes off and maybe you hire other dog walkers and you have to change
Exactly.
your, you know, your model. So I think that that was super
Yes.
important that you talked about. I think for even for me personally, you know, with freelancing, you know, I've done that. I
Mhm.
personally, within social media and coaching, I've transitioned from having a lot of smaller clients to, you know, one bigger client. And you know, my
Mhm.
our income as freelancers fluctuates so much that I think it's
Right.
important to audit that, you
Right.
know,
Right.
essentially.
Make
Accounting
sure you
pun.
have a savings too. I didn't even put that in there. I was, but make sure you have a savings and you separate your business income from your business expenses. So if you have a business bank account, which everyone should, then you have that savings or an additional accounts attached to that main business account. So say if you have payroll, you contract out for something, that's coming out of a separate account and not your main um income that's coming in. So I hope that, and a biggest thing too that I want to get on real quick, that is kind of still on the scale because it's about money, but I want everyone to know on here that, like I mentioned earlier, in the business to make money. You have this not only because you have a passion for whatever it is that you want to do, if it's helping someone, but you're in business to make money. And that mindset is huge when it comes to making money. Your income has no limits.
Of
So
course.
it's the work that you do and the work that you set out to do, and having a great team of advisors around you, whether it's, an accountant and an attorney, a business coach, whatever it is that you do, you have someone you can talk to get you through those tough times, because it is going to be tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. We all have our days.
Absolutely. I agree 100% when people are asking me, how'd you get started? What do you need to get started? And I said, an accountant, an attorney, and there was one more. I can't remember. There's like three. Oh, an accountant, an attorney, and an insurance agent. Like
Yeah. Yep.
you need that trifecta in order to be successful. And it's, you know, for some people, it's, you know, not their favorite subject. I know
At
for
all.
me, no offense, definitely not, but that's why there are people like you and you to guide us along with that. And, you know, kind of to touch on, you know, what Lisa said earlier, you know, this should be a session every year. I mean, we were grateful enough to have you last year in person in Buffalo. So now you get to share your knowledge nationwide on our
Right.
business week this year. So super
Very
excited.
appreciative.
Oh, love it so much. And, you know, I think one thing that I want to touch on before we sign off is that you're right. We can make as much money as we want, and we are in control of that. And making money is important. Our profit is important. And I think just the difference between making money and having a profit is huge. You know, so but being strategic,
Mhm.
being strategic and doing things the right way or in the smartest way, you actually don't need to do more work to make money sometimes,
At
right?
all.
Or not to make money.
That's
You
that
don't need to
tough
work more
part.
to make a higher profit. I should reword that. You know, you don't need
Hmm.
to work more or harder
Right.
to gain more profit. Maybe you just need to restructure yourself so you're smart with
Mhm.
your taxes. So that's something
Yes.
I've definitely grown to learn more about
Right.
over the last 7 years for me. So thank you for, you know, touching on that. We've had a lot of really great feedback here. So
Oh, yes, Paula. But I love it. I love it.
you love
I
it, and I'm
love
like,
it.
"Ee." So awesome. I mean, it's been wonderful having you. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to share with everyone before we go ahead and sign off here?
Just check out my website. I have new updates coming out. Like I said, you get that free guide, and other good things. If you go back and click the link within my bio that was on the page. And I thank you so much for, allowing me to come on again this year and assist individuals. So I'm here. I'm just
It's a pleasure.
ready to
We would
work.
have you every year. We'll have you every year, if we've got the access. So, I mean, to Emily's comment here, the Mighty Freelance Network, if you all haven't joined that, in addition to contacting Nakia or myself for anything, the Mighty Freelance Network is a huge resource for all freelancers. So from here, we stem into that continuous conversation and education about all of this, because I've been listening for the last hour and I'm just like, oh man, I haven't done that in a while. I haven't done that in a while. So thank you for tasking me with that. Really appreciate. I know Paula said you have a sparkle in your eye. You want to hire the accountant that has a sparkle when you talk about numbers and DBAs and structure, because you wouldn't want to hire me. I don't have a sparkle when I talk about that. I get sparkles when I talk about profit. That's pretty much it.
Right.
But can't have that without you. So thank you so much again. I'm going to go ahead and end the session. But of course, everyone,
thank you,
throw this back on super quick. And make sure you get Nakia's workbook, reach out to her, join the Mighty Freelance Network, and we will see you at 5 o'clock for our next and final session of the day. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.